gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright.
Well, you got to think that as you start your Monday with the week ahead, everything's going to be all right as we look up Avenue in the Americas.
Great song, right?
Absolutely.
First time I heard it was on the show, and I downloaded it, and I listen to it all the time. Everything's going to be all right.
Right. And by the way, Rudy Giuliani is a big Yankee fan, and he knows one of the best things about being on the Yankees, you get to pick up your own music when you go up to a plate. Do you like that music, Mr. Mayor?
Would that be
to go up to the plate here to walk out to our couch?
If they'd let me catch in place of Sanchez, I'd have that music.
Everything's going to be all right. That means they're going to get
it. Hit well if you're a catcher.
Right. You know. I mean, when the president hired you, he hoped that meant everything's going to be all right.
He plays it every time I walk into the office.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the situation with the president and, any legal peril he might face with Robert Mueller. What is the very latest? Because we've heard you and Mueller have had conversations, and the drop-dead date is September 1st. If there's going to be a sit-down, it's going to have to happen before that because you don't want to be meddling with the midterm.
Well, just count 60 days back from the election. So that takes us into September at some point. We think it should end. The investigation
whole
should
investigation.
be over. Absolutely. It should be terminated. He should put out his report, tell the American people what he has, and they can evaluate it. They're entitled to this information before. He shouldn't hold it and try to manipulate the election the way Comey did. I don't think he wants to do that. So why did I say September 1st? Because a long time ago, 2 months ago, when we met with him, he threw out September 1st as a date that he might be able to get the report done by. And
does he still sound like that?
Well, we haven't talked. He has not repeated that since then, but he hasn't taken it back.
Right.
And there's no reason why it can't be done. Remember, this whole thing about the president being interviewed, Mueller has all the answers. We've given them.
From other people in documents.
Yesterday, the confusion about what he said to Flynn. We clarified that months ago.
What do you mean?
She was going back Maggie Haberman goes back 2 months in the story to something we clarified 2 months ago. Here's what happened. The president says, I never said to Flynn anything about...
I never said to Comey.
I never said to Comey anything about Flynn. Comey says, and he adds this at the very end, Comey says he told me to see if I could give him a break, basically. So we have 3 defenses to that. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, you can't really question why the president would say something. He has the power to say it. Number 2, what he was saying is perfectly justifiable. He didn't say, you must, you have to, I'll fire you if you don't. He said, consider it. Number 3, he never said it. Lawyers argue like this. We call it arguing the alternative. So it
doesn't matter because you say the president never said it.
Yeah, we went on the law, we went on the facts. And the whole thing is much ado about nothing because even if you want to say Comey's right and the president doesn't remember correctly, what Comey says, he acknowledges, doesn't even amount to a violation of anything. Right. Also, I got to tell you this about Comey. Comey basically denied it 2 weeks before he said it under oath, which I only found out from John Dowd.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, so John Dowd, I had a chance to talk to him on the radio on Friday, and he was one of the president's original attorneys. And he said when he sat down with Robert Mueller, he said, listen, I'm going to give you everything. We want this over with quick. And Mueller says, absolutely, let's get over with quick. So he gave him over 1 million documents. And he essentially, I'll paraphrase, he felt like he was totally misled by Robert Mueller. And he went on to say, he is James Comey, too. When you guys talk, do you feel as though he misled the...
Well, okay. Do I think there are a lot of problems? Yes. Do they portray it that way? No. It's a conversation between and among lawyers. Jane Raskin does most of the negotiating for us, and Quarles does most of the negotiating for him, and they are very civil, and we've gotten some good things out of it. They probably have also. Now, be that as it may, there should right now be an investigation of Comey, Mueller, and the whole group. Quarles.
You want an investigation on the investigation?
Absolutely. I mean, let's go back to the beginning of it. It begins with a phony dossier, Strzok, the Horowitz report, which basically casts all kinds of doubt on what happened with Hillary, and then those people are transformed to the counterintelligence investigation. It never produces a darn thing. I am now convinced that the initiation of the independent counsel was totally illegal. There's no crime that's alleged.
It was a Comey plot.
Yeah,
you know, that when
the regulation requires a crime. There's still to suggest what the crime is.
So we need to see the documents. Why doesn't the president declassify all that stuff?
I think there's only one way you're going to get it. You got to open an investigation. You got to subpoena them. And it has to be an independent counsel because
but the president could declassify it.
The witnesses will be the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, Mueller, Comey. Comey committed perjury so many times it's a joke. I mean, it's an outrage.
Some of the Republicans agree with you. You have Devin Nunes saying that he wants to investigate the Hillary Clinton.
You see,
collusion.
if Congress does it, they'll just look what they're doing to Congress. They're obstructing. It has to be. So how about we have a Mueller for them? And maybe we should go get a really partisan Republican with 16 very partisan Republicans, all of whom have said things hateful about Hillary Clinton, like they basically have.
Right, you have two simultaneous investigations.
Although I would go for a neutral.
Right.
Sure.
Is it possible that Robert Mueller has something and you have no idea what he has?
No.
Why?
Because I've been through everything. I've talked to the president. The president's an honest man. The president did nothing wrong, hasn't done anything wrong. Throughout this, he said, give him all the documents. John Dowd will tell you this. 1.4 million documents. We don't even look at them. We just gave it to him. Cohen said he had tapes. A couple of our lawyers got worried. What's on the tapes? President, don't worry. I've listened to all the tapes now. The tapes vindicate him. Right?
Speaking of tapes, Omarosa recorded that conversation with Chief of Staff John Kelly. And it was a private situation. He fires her. She records it. And now she releases the tapes. Is she breaking the law by doing that?
In the Situation Room.
She's certainly violating national security regulations, which I think have the force of law. Yeah, I would think she is. I mean, I have to look at it more carefully. And is she violating every bit of trust that people should have in someone? I mean, Donald Trump made her. I mean, what kind of ingratitude is this? Even and you can tell from the tape, he thought she resigned.
Yeah,
and John Kelly fired her.
Right.
Look, I was the chief of staff, deputy attorney general. I would often fire people that had to be fired.
Right. The Today Show just released tapes that shows that she recorded the president as well.
Calling her the next day and saying, what's going on, Omarosa?
I didn't know you were leaving.
Yeah, I heard a little of that tape. Sounds perfectly natural in a situation like where he thought she was she was resigning. He wasn't even happy about that. Most of the things about her never came to him. They don't walk in and say to the president, I'm not just saying Omarosa, so-and-so leaked something or so-and-so is fighting with this one on the White. If you did that, the president couldn't do his job. That's for the chief of staff to handle. And for her to say that Kelly pressured her, he said to her, it's non-negotiable. That's not pressuring. This is a Marine Corps general.
You're fired.
He's not exactly going to have a bedside manner. I think Kelly probably does. But she had to be fired. She was fired. That was it. They never put anything bad about her. They never attacked her.
Because he was talking on the tape that they played yesterday about ethical violations regarding vehicles, maybe money as well. But he didn't want to go into the specifics because we have these lawyers right here who are going to fix this.
Well, and none of that came out. None of that. I mean, if Kelly wanted to hurt her, or anybody around the chief wanted to hurt her, it would have been in the Washington Post the next day. She's misusing this. She's misusing that. Her accounts aren't in order. Everybody in the White House thinks she's a backstabber. A little of that did come out, that last part. But so what?
Mr. Mayor, how would you characterize the president's mindset this weekend? You were with him.
Oh, the president played golf great yesterday. And then he watched most of the end of the PGA, and he was in rare form. He was entertaining all of his friends. Made a bunch of calls there, thanking people for their support. It was Donald Trump, in campaign mode, getting ready for November, and starting to feel pretty good about he's won 9 out of 10 races with all this garbage going on around him. I think we have them on the run. I think he's happy that we're calling for an investigation of Mueller and Comey. And you're waiting for Mueller to get back to you. And I think that's one of the reasons why he put up that tweet on Sessions, trying to wake him up. Mm-hmm. Come on. Let's start being an attorney general here. Let's be equal. You've been investigating us forever. No evidence. How about we take a look at where there's a big pile of evidence?
Yeah.
And when you talk to the president, do you call the president Sessions? Do you call the attorney general?
No, he's recused. No, we would we'll communicate to Mueller, which usually means Jane Raskin with Jim Quarles. If we went to Rosenstein, that would be the person he would appeal to, and probably at the end we'd ask for a meeting with him. Because he's actually the decision maker. He writes the report, Mueller does, but then Rosenstein decides what to do.
Because he's his boss. All right, Still lots more work to do. Okay. Rudy, thank you very much for joining us.
So much for being here.
Should be a big week.
Should be.
I hope so.
I think this is the week, I think.
All right.
Really?
For what?
I think he'll give us a decision this week on our counterproposal. We're coming down to his looking really bad by interfering in the election, and I think he's got to get it over with by the beginning or early September.
All right. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you.